What's good, Storm fans? Bryant Cook. Today we're playing Blue Dredge in Legacy. This is actually a MahfuzVanGogh deck. They're a Legacy Dredge expert, and they went 5-0 with this exact 75. They posted it to Twitter, and a member of our Combo Cabal tier, Sean Dignan. Sean, thank you for all of your continued support. You've been a Combo Cabal member for over a year, and with that tier, you get a single donation deck every single month. And I really do appreciate all of your support. So today we're playing the deck that Sean wanted to see, which is MahfuzVanGogh's Blue Dredge deck. And why I think that this deck is so interesting is that it doesn't play Lion's Eye Diamond. So it's not a fast deck. This is a deck that's looking to grind the opponent slowly out of the game. You're not going to get too many turn 1 kills. So you might get a couple turn 1 concessions when you pair Grief with Cabal Therapy, but you're not going to dredge your entire deck and reanimate something and attack for a win. That's not what we're doing here. We're playing a much more consistent deck. And if you go back in time, I actually played MahfuzVanGogh's previous no LED deck, and you can find that video in the card above. And it played the traditional dredge mana base, so Mana Confluence, City of Brass, Gemstone Mine, and it ran Faithless Looting. But when you look at Faithless Looting, it's not quite as good without Lion's Eye Diamond because it's a Careful Study that has flashback. Yes, it's better than Careful Study because it has flashback, but when you're playing a mana base with, everything that I just described, you deal yourself a lot of damage, or you tap that Gemstone Mine so many times that you don't have it. So instead, we're playing a more consistent mana base with Underground Sea, Islands, Fetch Lands, and Cephalo Coliseum. The fetch lands are actually pretty interesting because this deck is running Brainstorm, which means that you can, dredge, something multiple times and then put 2 Grave-Trolls on top of your deck, or even copies of Narcomoeba. So this deck has ways of getting Narcomoeba back in the deck, which is actually pretty cool. I'd say the real backbone of this deck is Otherworldly Gaze. This is the deck that I've played across format, or a card that I've played across formats. I'm a really big fan of this card. So it's 1 blue instant Surveil 3, and it has flashback for 2. I love this card, I really do. It's why I wanted to play this deck today. Even though that Sean submitted it, once I saw that it was playing this card, I was like, yes, I'm in. But other than that, it's a pretty stockish build. We are on a main deck Dread Return for Ashen Rider, which is pretty interesting. I think that makes sense in a slower build because you're more likely going to have to be able to deal with some permanents rather than just racing them. But speaking of dealing with permanents, look at the sideboard. So they're taking a little bit of the Doomsday approach between Force of Negation and Force of Will to just stop things from resolving. But things like Leyline of the Void, which we're playing ourselves, don't go on the stack. So instead, we have Stern Dismissal to answer those, and then a couple copies of Chain of Vapor as a generic catch-all. I think the sideboard is wonderfully built. It really is quite smart. I'm a big fan. So I think that's all I have to say about this deck list. I mean, it's really the mana base that's the difference here, and if you already own Underground Seas, this deck is relatively cheap. If you don't own Underground Sea, I understand that this is a very expensive Magic card. I'm not trying to say that this deck is budget, but when you look at the rest of the deck, it's pretty affordable. And I do think that this is actually a deck where if you wanted to, you could get away with running Watery Graves here for a budget option. So just throwing that out there, but that's what I've got. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I'll do my best to answer those, but I am not a dredge expert, so bear with me. Maybe MahfuzVanGogh will watch this and answer some of your questions as well, but I'm just going to hop on in and play some Legacy Magic the Gathering. I hope you will join me, and let's go to match number 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first round. We are on the play. Oh, I guess you can also brainstorm back Bridge from below. That's quite good. Let's keep this. Okay, so we have a pretty interesting question right out of the gate. And I'm going to just play Brainstorm on the end step, upkeep Otherworldly Gaze, rather than trying to create the perfect Brainstorm with these fetch lands. Underground Sea. Lotus Petal. Okay, so this is probably Doomsday. Another copy of Lotus Petal. Come on, Brainstorm, we need you to do some heavy lifting. And another bridge. We did it at another Brainstorm, though. So we'll put these two on top. In our upkeep, we will cast the Otherworldly Gaze. We get another troll. Okay. So we're going to put all 3 cards to the graveyard. Draw and dredge. Okay, and now we'll play this Polluted Delta and pass the turn. I guess I could Brainstorm in my main phase. Maybe I should have done that. Yeah, that was probably better. I might have just thrown game number 1. Because in theory, I could hit Narcomoebas. They pitched Unmasked, so they're Reanimator. Okay, let's cast this Brainstorm. I probably should have done this in the main phase. Playing too conservatively here. Dredge. 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 Put the bridge on top and a troll. Yeah, look at this. I could have cast a Dread Return on my turn if I was just more aggressive. Our Narcomoebas have entered, and now Grief is on the stack. They will look at cards that don't do anything. I guess they hit my bridges. This deck's tough to play. Once again, not a Dredge expert. It happens when I play decks sometimes where it's a deck that I'll play once every, like in a blue moon, and then the comment section is just so brutal, like, don't play decks if you're not good with them, like, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you're learning with me. Sometimes I make mistakes. It happens. So they hit 2 copies of Bridge from below. Yes, I'd like to bring back an Ichorid. We will remove this Grief. And then in our upkeep, let's flashback Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, and then we'll go to draw, and I can dredge the troll again. We don't have any way of giving our zombies haste, so I believe I'm supposed to just attack here. And they concede instead. Sweet. Well, we're definitely interested in Leyline of the Void, that's for sure. On the draw against Reanimator, I wonder if this is a matchup where I want to bring in all the forces. This doesn't seem like a Hogek matchup, and I think you could probably board out this package as well. Probably don't want Breakthrough if you're trying to be a force deck. Card view. What to do, what to do. I'm sort of interested in this. I also think that, like, I'm kind of pressured. Let me bring up a recent Reanimator list to see if they have ley lines in them. Okay, so this is a recent Reanimator list. We saw Grief and Unmasked, so it's safe to assume that they are on this. There's some Dothy Voidwalkers. No ley lines, a couple copies of Fairy Macabre. Fairy Macabre, like, it's fine against us, but it's not that great. So I think instead of having the forces, I'm going to lean on Leyline, and then we'll board in a couple copies of Chain of Vapor. I guess Turn Dismissal hits everything that we want to hit Chain with. Interesting. Alright, and then I'm going to board out 2 Brainstorm. I think that this is one of the few decks in Legacy where boarding out Brainstorm is acceptable. It is a slower card in a fast matchup. So that is my thought process. And here we have Leyline of the Void. I'm going to keep, and then we'll use Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves to discard this Golgari Grave-Troll. Leyline of the Void. Marsh Flats pass. We'll take a draw. Stinkweed Imp. So we could actually hardcast this Stinkweed Imp and flashback the Therapy later. Cabal Therapy targeting myself. It resolves. We will name Golgari Grave-Troll. And there it is. We'll select the Grave-Troll. Okay. Look at our hand. It's all creatures and lands. Pass the turn. This is a spot where Fairy Macabre would admittedly be fine. But in general, like, it's not a blowout card, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to stop me from, like, a big win attempt with Fairy Macabre. It's just, like, a fine, like, hey, I'm going to hit this Dredger here sort of card. And that's what they have. So they've used one of their 2 Fairy Macabres. And we draw another Ichorid. We'll play our fetch land and pass the turn. So something they can do is cast Reanimate on our creatures. Draw. Otherworldly Gaze is a great one. I'm going to wait to cast that, though. They play a land. Sure thing. Grief. Okay, we'll grab our Underground Sea. Otherworldly Gaze. Nail the Leyline. Mill Stern Dismissal and Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba will enter. Yes, I would like to use its ability. And now the grief happens. They have to choose Ichorid or a Stinkweed Imp. So them hitting land 2 is a little bit dangerous here because I saw that some people are running 2 copies of Gothy Voidwalker. They've already hit one of their 2 copies of Fairy Macabre. I don't know how much I want to play around 4 pieces of Graveyard Hate. And it looks like they might actually have it here. I still have 2 other copies of Stern Dismissal in the deck. Dark Ritual. Okay. This is a Hardcast Grief? Show and Tell. Yeah, that does beat a ley line. Sure. Archon of Cruelty. I will sacrifice this imp. That was actually pretty good for me. Okay, so they're at 21. Let's flashback this otherworldly gaze on their end step. Looking for like a brainstorm here. We'll mill all of these. Did not find the brainstorm. And the other Fairy Macabre. Wow. Okay. They left me with a Stinkweed Imp to dredge. So I'll remove the grief. That's pretty free. And I don't think I can afford to remove the Stinkweed Imp, so I'm going to say no. And then we'll draw. Dredge. You could take a draw step here and hope to spike a blue draw spell, but I don't know how realistic that is. I did hit Cabal Therapy. So I can cast this Stinkweed Imp to keep the Archon on defense. Look at these lands coming up huge. And they just conceded. I was going to go to combat and attack, but they had enough. Clearly, Blue Dredge / Stinkweed Imp hardcast way too powerful. You love to see it. Alright, so we are 1-0 in this Legacy League. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match number 2, we are on the play. No mana, no keep. This seems fine. Keep, and we'll put back the Narcomoeba. Okay. Fetch. We'll grab a basic here, and Careful Study. The Golgari Thug and Flooded Strand? Yeah, I think that's the move. We'll pass. Okay, it looks like Delthar also has a Flooded Strand for Volcanic Island. Into Ponder. Or if you're from Boston, Panda! They shuffle, we will draw and dredge. We hit a troll in there, that's pretty good. We have 7 cards, let's play the Cephalocalcium and get to work. Target myself. Dredge the Grave-Troll. And another troll. And a Stinkweed Imp. We hit an Narcomoeba. We'll discard 2 trolls and the Imp. Narcomoeba happens. And our opponent concedes. Easy does it. Alright, so I do know that Delthar in the Showcase Challenge played Is It Delver? So I believe that's the matchup we're preparing for. And usually that deck doesn't have hard graveyard hate, so I think the move here is actually a no change resubmit. If we see information that changes that, we could always change for the post-board games. But Delthar is someone who plays a lot of different decks, and they're usually non-blue decks. Like if I face Delthar on Painter, lands, all sorts of stuff. So when I noticed that they were on Is It Delver for the Showcase, I was kind of surprised, but it looks like they're keeping at it. This is not a hand that I think we're allowed to keep. Mulligan. This is better. Get rid of a... maybe we get rid of the GAC. Volcanic Island into Ponder. We could look here and to just draw discard, and then try to set up Cephalocalcium. Okay, they shuffled. We're just going to draw a pass. We don't necessarily need to be hyper fast if our opponent isn't going to deploy threats. They ponder again. Looted Delta for another volcanic island into a third ponder. Okay. So they're likely to have surgical in their deck. That's the card I'm most concerned with here. So I think in a lot of situations I would consider discarding the Golgari Thug, but the fact that we have 2 of them in hand means that, oh, they're on Sneak and Show. Okay. All right. So the fact that we have 2 in hand, if they surgical it, I can't do the draw discard anymore. And there's the surgical. I'll concede here. So that changes our game plan. We do want the forces in this matchup now. And let's get rid of the breakthrough, the rider, the, whoops, didn't mean to click that one, Hogak, and the Dread Return. Bring in Force of Wills, a couple copies of Negation. We want to keep our blue count high, so I don't want to board out other blue cards. You board out Breakthrough just because it's an all-in card. I think that you could probably board out a couple copies of Ichorid. It's a grind card. Let's submit this. Game 3 versus Sneak and Show, not Is It Delver. We'll keep this. Delthar with a mulligan to 5. Now down to 4. Okay. I'm going to main phase Brainstorm here, hoping to spike a Grief. We did not. I will place these 2 cards on top of my deck. Hopefully, I'll have the opportunity to otherworldly gaze them away. And it's just Delta Pass for the opponent. Otherworldly Gaze. We will get rid of all of these. Draw for turn, and I will attempt to dredge the Golgari Grave-Troll if they let me. Volcanic Island. Brainstorm. Sure. Am I allowed to dredge? I am. We did not hit anything good off that. In fact, it was quite stinky. I'm going to... Well, they don't have force in hand. I think I'm supposed to Cabal Therapy them for show and tell. Cabal Therapy. Show and tell. They have nothing. Okay. Well, I guess they did just play a Brainstorm, so they could have hidden everything on top. There's the City, Lotus Petal. There's the Sneak Attack, okay. Take a regular draw. Let's Careful Study. Am I supposed to Otherworldly Gaze first? Let's Otherworldly Gaze. The force doesn't matter anymore. Okay, and then we'll Careful Study. Then I draw into a Narcomoeba. Quite brutal. Pass the turn. Not loving this right now. Yep. That's an Emrakul. Sacrifice my 2 lands, and we'll go to 4. So we have to win now before they draw another creature. Dredge. We hit a Narcomoeba, yes. Cabal Therapy, target myself. Sacrifice the Narcomoeba. Get a couple copies of Bridge Triggers. I'm going to say Stinkweed Imp this time, because that way I can feed them to Ichorid while dredging. Alright, no whammies, please. No whammies. They play an island which sacrifices their city. They pass. Let's remove a Golgari Thug. We'll dredge. Get another Narcomoeba, yes. Go to combat. We'll attack them for 7. Cabal Therapy, target you. I'm not even sure what I would name here. Force of Will? I don't know. I think if they had drawn anything of relevance, they would have played it. Okay. Cabal Therapy, targeting ourselves. Sacrifice the Narcomoeba. And I'll say Stinkweed Imp. I'm saying Imp because it gives me food for the Ichorid, which I think is really what matters right now. Because, I mean, we do have lethal on board, actually. We won after being hit by Emrakul. Yes! 2-0. Alright, let's get the next 3. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting your own Commander events with features such as easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-based games. Event management has never been so simple, and it's on the web, which means no downloads required. You can sign up for $5 by visiting eminence.events/subscribe. Alright, match number 3, we're facing Ali, who plays exclusively lands, which means crop rotation. I think I'm going to keep this, but it's honestly a really tough matchup for us, just due to crop rotation into Bojuka Bog. Basic Forest. Elvish Reclaimer. Well, that gets bogged pretty quickly. Alright, draw. I'm going to just go straight to discard. And I'm going to discard the Thug. Maybe Thug's innocent enough where I'll be able to keep it around. Exploration. Wasteland. Thespian Stage. Alright, well, they might also just be going for a quick kill you. Draw and Dredge. Okay. Let's brainstorm. And here comes the Bojuka Bog. Sacrificing Wasteland. Sure. Brainstorm. Put Narcomoeba on top and then Troll, I guess. Okay, so once again, they are a Dark Depths Thespian Stage deck. If you copy Bojuka Bog, it doesn't work the way that you want it to. Unfortunately, no other really gaze here, so we are going to have to draw the Troll, and then we'll fetch. Go grab the other basic, I think. Actually, no, let's grab an Underground Sea. Cast this Brainstorm. That was also terrible. Put back the Hogak and a fetch. Pass the turn. Keeping the Narcomoeba around because it does block a Merit Lodge, assuming that there's no Sajiri step. And they actually just have lethal. Okay. That hurt. Okay, so looking at recent lands lists, they are not a Leyline of the Void deck. In fact, like most lists just have a couple copies of Surgical plus their crop rotation. And not really sure what the plan is here. I mean, I think I want Force. I don't think Force and Negation is good here. I also don't think that this is a Hogak matchup. I do think Dread Return for Ashen Rider is going to be fine. Maybe board out one Ichorid. Let's try this. Game 2, and we're on the play. And just doesn't do anything. Mulligan. Uh-oh. Mulligan. Why are you doing this to me, deck? Okay. 4 cards. We will lose to literally anything. Flooded Strand. Fetch. Island. Careful Study. Come on. Why? Why? That was so bad. Burnt Catacombs. Am I allowed to draw? They cast a Once Upon a Time. Nurturing Peatland was the reveal. Endurance. Sweet. Okay, draw. This game is not going to be a pretty one. They play the Peatland for Bayou. Alright, I'm good to pick it up there. Alright, so we are now 2-1. Wump wump. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Match number 4, we're on the draw, and we will keep. This hand is delightful. Basic Island. Okay, Paradise Lost. Let's brief you. Probably should have played a land first. That was a mistake. Opponent plays Basic Island, and I did not play around days. This is my first time playing Magic. Bear with me. Brief. Hey, it resolved. I'm a master. I didn't need to play around days the whole time. They're on Shark still. Well, let's get rid of that Ponder. We will fetch. Brainstorm. Okay, these two can go on top. Pass the turn. Flooded Strand. And they're passing. In our upkeep, we will cast this Otherworldly Gaze. Hopefully it resolves. Looks like it's going to be hit by Counterspell here. Oh, Dress Down, sure. Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, so we will draw. Dredge. Narcomoeba. Yes. Play our Underground Sea. Let's Breakthrough. Okay. Dredge. And again. And again. And again. Aw, they conceded. Poor Shark Still player. I do know that Koval, Brian Koval, aka Bosch and Roll, is someone that doesn't like losing a graveyard deck, so I should expect something like Rest in Peace. I don't think I want Hogak here. And I think like maybe you board out this package as well and you just do like 3 Stern Dismissal. Let's try that. Yeah, this seems great. Keep. Volcanic Island. Draw, and it's a Narcomoeba. I think unfortunately we have to Grief Pitch Grief here. Okay, and it resolves. Red Elemental Blast. Force, Dress Down. Narset. I'm going to take the Force. My hope here is that they have to ponder and then don't hit a red source and I can just play through this red blast. Ooh, not rewarded. Ponder. That land was a very good draw for them. They did not shuffle. We'll take a draw. Cabal Therapy. That was a good one. Fetch. Therapy you. We'll name Red Elemental Blast. And they drew Surgical. Okay. If they have a land on top, this breakthrough does nothing the rest of the game. So I think I'm going to just cast the breakthrough for whatever and discard my hand. I know that I'm playing into Surgical, but I don't think I have a choice. Okay, do you have land 3? Ponder. They shuffled on the Ponder. Brainstorm. They find Flooded Strand as land number 3. So Narset is online next turn. Draw. Dredge the Troll. Let's activate the Cephaly Coliseum. I mean, like, there's no reason not to because we know it's about to be shut off by this Narset. Dredge. 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 Okay. Narcomoeba. And they're going to Surgical my Narcomoebas. That's fine. We have some Ichorids in there. Yes. Alright. And pass. Alright, so we have 1 Ichorid, 2 Ichorids. There's a 3rd Ichorid somewhere in our deck. They have land number 4. So they could play Dress Down here if they choose. Or they can play the Narset. Okay, Ichorid triggers. Remove a Grief. And Ichorid again. Remove a Thug. So they could play Dress Down here to stop us from attacking. But we could still... And we hit the 3rd Ichorid, so there's no reason to Dredge anymore. But we can still play Bridge from Below. Or play Cabal Therapy for Bridge from Below. They're going to cycle a Shark here. It looks like they did not make a Shark. Oh, they're making a 0/0. This is a good play. For some reason, I thought you needed to make a creature. I didn't think it made a 0/0. That's actually really unfortunate for us. I didn't realize that this just made a 0/0 that died. Good play by them. That is 3 bridges. We do have 1 bridge left in our deck. Swing. So they're not going to play the Dress Down. That's interesting. Swords. Okay. That was a good draw. So they have Dress Down Narset. I'm not sure what the right move is here. It's probably the Dress Down. We'll pass. They play Narset. They activate Scalding Tarn. And they don't have another Tundra or else they would have fetched it. So it's definitely a Kovalis. And they found Surgical! Ah, we're dead. Wow. Okay. Brutal. Okay, so let's get rid of those. It didn't seem like they had permanent hate. I'm going to bring in Force. Board out the breakthroughs. We get 1 card back. Maybe I keep 1 breakthrough. Or maybe 1 Stern Dismissal. Let's do 1 Chain of Vapor, just in case it's like a Grafdigger's Cage or something. On the play for game 3. Very good hand. Keep. We do have to remove an Ichorid, which is unfortunate. Okay, they've kept 6. Flooded Strand. We'll play Grief, pitching the Ichorid. Grief. Okay. And now we'll take their Ponder. Okay, and now we'll say Ponder. They have Narset and lands. Pass the turn. They play a Tundra. And they draw into a Ponder. Thoughtseize Bug. They did not shuffle. Draw. Let's cast Brainstorm. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the Force here. I just don't think it's something we need. And let's Cabal Therapy. Narset. Harder of Veils. So they kept and then drew a land. So that means that whatever they wanted to keep is on top of their deck. Prismatic Vista. We have 6 cards in graveyard, so all I have to do is cast this Brainstorm to activate the Coliseum. And that was brutal. Okay. No Dredgers. They drew through the Ponder. And they have another Narset. That's unfortunate. That means that Cephalid Coliseum isn't going to do anything for us. I mean, I guess it discards cards, which is better than an island. I'm going to keep the Narcomoeba to pressure the Narset. They use the Narset, and they find Surgical. Jeez. Now they can hit the Imp, and I don't have a Dredger again. And that's what they do. So their hand is Scalding Tarn plus 1 unknown that they kept off Ponder. Draw. That was a fine one. Play the Narcomoeba. I think I'm going to just pass. Let's just do it now, I suppose. If they have a counterspell, it's better to do it now than when they have mana up. None of these cards actually help me here. Okay. They have Sword. They found Shark Typhoon off the Narset. And their last card in hand was another Surgical. So they had double Surgical there. I'm wondering if Dredge replaces the draw with Narset. I honestly don't know the answer. Well, I feel like if I'm going to find out, I should do it on their turn where I at least get 1. I guess that doesn't make sense. I don't have any Dredgers in the graveyard. Another Narset. Yep. They find Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, using the Cephalid here doesn't make any sense. I don't have any Dredgers in graveyard. Okay, we have to pass. They're using the Scalding Tarn. This game's probably over at this point. Like, they have Shark Typhoon and Swords. Humility. Okay. I believe I've seen enough. We can go to the 5th and final match. Unfortunately, we're 2-2 after our hot start. Let's just win the last one, get our money back. That'd be great. With Cardhoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Cardhoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Cardhoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. Alright, the 5th and final match. We're facing Fey Rocks. We're on the draw, and I'm going to keep. So, I've now played 4 matches with this deck. I am no expert, but I have come to the conclusion that I don't think I like Brainstorm. If you look at a couple of our losses, we cast Brainstorm multiple times and just can't get cards to the graveyard. And if this Brainstorm was a Faithless Looting or something else, I'd have a much better time getting cards to the bin. I guess that's my point here. And I don't know, like, I feel like there's just too many times this league where I struggle getting Dredgers to the graveyard and it resulted in losses. And Brainstorm doesn't really help with that. And now I'm just going to go to discard and get rid of the Stinkweed Imp. Like, it does allow for explosive plays, which is cool, but I just want more consistency getting my cards to the graveyard. I think that's ultimately what I want here. Alright, so not really sure what they're playing yet. Dredge the Imp. I think I'm going to just be disciplined and pass for now. Wooded Foothills. They grabbed a Savannah. Okay. Volcanic Island. So this could be the Blue Zenith deck. I'm just going to Dredge the Imp. Narcomoeba, yep. Play a land, pass. They grab another Volcanic. The Rhinos. Okay. Going to attempt a Brainstorm here. Dredge. 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 Put back these 2. Yes. So they have made some Rhinos. Minskin Boo. Alright. I have 1 bridge in the graveyard. They've turned their hamster into a 4/4. They're attacking. I will make some zombies. Soak up a little bit of damage. I'll take 10. And now we get our zombies. Sweet. Now Ichorid comes back. Exile the Thug. Dredge. We know that we have another Ichorid and a Narco on top. Yes. Play land for turn. We'll go to combat. Ichorid at them. The zombies at Minsk and Boo. Cabal Therapy targeting them. Get 2 more zombies. We'll say Endurance. Or Force of Will, I mean, not Endurance. Endurance was the other card I was thinking about, but it's probably not main deck. Force of Will. They do have one as well as a pair of Leyline Binding. We don't have another Cabal Therapy here, so if I Ashen Rider, they're going to be able to remove it. Why did I fetch? I guess we can Otherworldly Gaze first. Didn't really help. Keep this on top, though. Dread Return. Target the Ashen Rider. Get rid of Narcomoeba and 2 zombies. Exile the Boo. Actually, I could exile their white source. They have another white source in hand? They don't. Let's go after the white source. Okay. Well, that was a fortunate draw for them. Now I feel a little bit foolish. Leyline Binding on my Ashen Rider. They had a tropical double Leyline Binding in hand. Okay, so let's get rid of the Boo and a Rhino. We'll take 4 down to 5. Damage. Okay. I was wondering if I could stack them so I could still get creatures, but apparently the answer is no. Ichorids. Exile a Thug. Imp. And Imp. Now we'll dredge the... actually, no. I don't want to dredge. I have the Coliseum on top. Play the Coliseum. We have 17 cards left in our deck. Dredge. That brings us to 9. I hit the other bridge, though. That's good. Discard some trolls. I wonder if I have a fetchable left. I guess it doesn't matter. I've played a land. Cabal Therapy them for the Leyline Binding. And now we'll swing. Target me sacrificing an Ichorid. Make some blockers. We'll say Stinkweed Imp. Also, these are fuel for Ichorid on the following turn. Get rid of a troll. Okay. And then the last Ichorid can die naturally. Pass the turn. And they concede. Okay. So we've stolen game number 1. Game 2, we have to prepare for Endurance and Leyline of the Void. I'm not sure which one they're playing, but I think you're supposed to get rid of the breakthroughs. Let's get rid of the Ashen Rider, the Dread Return. I think I might want the Hogak, I'm not sure. But I definitely want Force of Will, and then I want some number of blue bound spells. 63 cards. I think I'm actually just going to board out Brainstorm. I don't think it's a card I really want. Bring in Chain of Vapor. Let's try this. Game 2, and we've opened up kind of the nuts here. Keep. And there's no Leyline of the Void. They suspend a Crashing Footfalls. Play the Delta. Let's Grief. Pitching a Stinkweed Imp. And the Grief. Take the Violent Outburst. And then I'm going to see if I can get them to Force of Will a Careful Study here. That's kind of my plan. And they let it go. Okay. So I think I will discard those two, keep Force up. I can use the Grief later by dredging the Stinkweed Imp. Misty Rainforest. So we knew what they drew for turn now. We will dredge the Stink. That was very good for us. Let's Grief them again. Okay. Take the Shardless Agent. And now we'll Cephalid Coliseum targeting ourselves. This was a very good draw for us. Definitely above average. Okay, we'll discard the 3 trolls. Narcomoeba triggers. Yes, I want to bring it back. Cabal Therapy you. Create some zombies. Like we're a Cranberries album. Okay, Cabal Therapy. Looks like they're going to cast the Leyline Binding for 2 mana here. And then we can discard the Force of Will, leaving them with just a Tundra. Okay. They are a single Tundra gamer. We'll pass. Crashing Footfalls removes a suspend counter. They get a random draw. Apparently it's a spell. They're trying to pay costs. Ichorid. Let's remove Grief. Draw, and we will Dredge. Let's auto yield to those. Yes. Yes. Go to combat. Swing better. Take 5. Cabal Therapy targeting you. Make some more zombies. We'll name Violent Outburst. Simian Spirit Guide. Cabal Therapy you again. Simian Spirit Guide. I mean, I think that they were supposed to cast this just as a blocker, but oh well. We'll pass. The Ichorid dies, we'll get 2 more zombies, and that is representing lethal on the following turn. Footfalls doesn't come off suspend this turn, so we don't have to force it. We got the 3-2. How about that? Alright, so let's start off by opening up our pity chest. See if we get anything good. Minskin Boo. Pretty sweet. Okay. We beat one and then we open one. I love that. So I'd like to say thank you to Sean for submitting this donation deck. It was a lot of fun. I think that the blue mana base is very good. That much I am convinced of. What I am less convinced of is Brainstorm. So I have a few ideas. So one, you could play something like Putrid Imp. And Putrid Imp gives you more black cards for Grief. And I think that actually has a lot of value. You could also just up some of your cards. So instead of playing 4 Brainstorm, you could play 4 Thug, the 4th Grief, and then like maybe 2 more Breakthroughs. So that's an option. That does change your blue count a little bit for the Force of Wills. I get it. Putrid Imp is another discard outlet option. You could also look at maybe not being blue-black. What if instead you're blue-red, and then you get Faithless Looting instead of Brainstorm? Obviously, Brainstorm being blue is relevant for these forces, but I'm sure there's other looting type effects in the format, or at least cards that put cards to the graveyard. There's Thought Scour, there's Consider, there's other things you could play. And I'm just not convinced that Brainstorm is actually what this deck wants. But I thought the blue mana base was very good. Everything else felt really good to me other than Brainstorm. Just like those, I mean, we had like 2 or 3 games where it just like wasn't ideal. So that's my only feedback. Once again, thank you to Sean for submitting the donation deck. MahfuzVanGogh, sweet deck. I mean, I think it's pretty good. It's just adjusting to taste at this point. Thanks everyone for watching. I do appreciate it. Have a great day and keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.